Hey guys, Rexasaur here and welcome to Update Monday on the 11th of October 2021. We made it. We made it through an entire weekend of fun-tacularness. So, as you probably all saw on Monday, I wasn't feeling great. But the remainder of the week was pretty good. I got some expert help from several professional individuals. Calling them that, they're great, and I'm very, very grateful for them. But yeah, so basically I wasn't feeling great. I had a large conversation with my fellow foster parents, Dragon and Panda, who really helped. And then I had a large conversation with my girlfriend afterwards, and we sorted out our holiday, so that was fun. It was always the intention anyway, but yeah, it was good to have that finally sorted. And then the rest of the week went alright. I made several decisions, which obviously won't take effect for a while, because I've got a very busy few weeks. So yay. But yeah, this weekend the big thing that happened, my voice is still very gravelly from all the shouting, but basically we went to EGX this weekend in London. I met some of friends, Hula, Jack, Key Limes and Cucumber. Sadly the Draganda couldn't make it due to previous aforementioned, I don't even know if I have mentioned it, either way they have stuff going on at the moment, so they were not able to join us, but they were there in spirit, and we sent them many pictures and FaceTimed them several times. What the hell happened there? Yeah, so it was good. I went up on the Friday after work, which was much smoother than I anticipated it being, because trains suck in the UK. There are actually countries that are worse, but comparatively, it sucks. So yeah, smooth the way up. I got there, took a tube and a DLR. I've never been on a DLR before, or if I have, it's been a while, and I forgot what the experience was. But compared to the tube, the DLR is a very shaky roller coaster. When I got to my hotel, had a cheeky Mackey's. I cannot recommend the double Big Mac. It is dry as fuck. Because they put twice as much meat on it, but they don't put twice as much sauce, so it just becomes very dry. There we go, that's a quick review. Yeah, and then the Saturday, despite my attempts to try and get everyone joining for breakfast, no one wanted to. I am still livid, as you can tell. But we all met up in front of the EGX, and then we all went in, and it was great. It was really nice to meet them finally. I'd already met Hula obviously before, but and Jack as well. I'd met before, but it was nice to see Hula, Cucumber, and Key for the first times in real life. And then we had a good day at EGX. So, my opinion on EGX. Well, this is the first big convention that I'd been to, and I know that there's several big conventions that had happened post-pandemic, but this was like the first convention. I think this is one of the first big gaming conventions in the UK for sure. I think EGX is like the only one anyway, unless they have one for like gaming awards or whatever. But yeah, there was basically fuck all there, to an extent. When a lot of the games that had been announced had been delayed, a lot of them are delayed until February. I personally would have liked to see more people, like developers there, just showing what they've had already, or even just showing off like a demo of what's going on. Because the only big developer that was really there was Larian Studios for Baldur's Gate 3, which is the first thing that we all did, because we entered, we saw the line was basically empty, and we were like, we're doing that now. And by which I said, we're doing that now. So we did. From what I understood, everyone had a lot of fun with it. There is a lot of cutscenes at the beginning, and I personally don't feel like it was a good position to start the demo with, because basically they put us right at the beginning of the game, which makes sense from a, oh well, new players can see what it's like at the beginning, but it's not the fun part of the game. Like, there's a part near the beginning, after like the initial tutorial area, where you get this really nice big fight against a bunch of goblins, which are not very strong. I feel like that would have been a much funner thing to show off. But they showcased the new sorcerer class, which I played, which was really good. It was really good. It unlocked quite a few things. So already in the tutorial area, I saw some very big differences between the previous playthroughs I'd done. So I was very happy with that. The animations are slightly smoother. The sorcerer class is very fun. It's very true to the D&D world, but what can you expect? They've been pretty true to it to now. One thing I didn't really like was the animation for dice rolling. When you do like a skill check, you have to roll a dice, which I've been playing Celeste recently, and that's done automatically for you with a little bit of like, oh, it's a dice roll, you failed or you passed. Whereas here you have to click on it and you have to wait like 7 seconds for the dice to finally roll. It's like, I don't really care, I just want the dice rolls to do the thing. It could be that there's a setting to remove that, and I probably will when I go back to the game when the update's live. But like, come on. But yeah, so we did Baldur's Gate 3. Everyone had a good time with it, so that's always good. It is a very fun game. Hula, who's never played any of the games like that before, said that the controls were very intuitive and it was very quick for him to understand how it all worked, which is fantastic to hear. Especially if you're a game developer, hearing something like that, you're going to be like, we've done our job correctly. Like, obviously, people who've never played the game before, being instantly, okay, I recognise what I need to do and how this works, is perfect. As someone who's played it before, like, or who have played that kind of game a lot, I can tell you that obviously it's very standard for me to know these things, but I can never see a game like that again from a first-hand point of view and be like, I've never played one of these games, what does it look like? Because I just don't know. In any case, that was Baldur's Gate 3. There was also a very large Fall Guys like area, because so EGX is sponsored by Virgin, and apparently so is Fall Guys in this. So they had a, like, I can't remember what it was called, something mountain, where they had some conveyor belts and people had to run up them while the conveyor belts going down, and the intention is when you get to the top you get a crown. And then there was also a section where you could go in as a team, you fight off, and then if you're one person in your team managed to get to the end and get a crown, you all got crowns. And then there was like a leaderboard or something. But there was also a section where you could just sit down and play. So we did that. Hula and Jack played, I think they got to round 2 or 3. I think they got to round 2. And then me and Key played, and Key lost after round 2, and I got all the way to the end. I think he might have got to round 3 actually, but yeah, I got to the final one. I was like, I've never played Fall Guys before, I don't know what I'm doing, and I was just like, what's dive? And I still to this day don't know what dive is on the controller. But I got to the end. I didn't win. I think I came last actually, because I got really wrecked by a lot of the spinny thingies. But yeah. But it was good fun. It was very enjoyable. Then we queued up for Back 4 Blood, which I wasn't really interested by it. So, and it was only teams of 4 anyway, because there was 5 of us. I was like, you know what? I'll bow out. I'm going to go buy some merch and stuff. You can see there's one on my bed there. I'll get it out now. Actually, give me one moment. I could have done this quicker. It's a badger sitting on a bench. But yeah, I also got it's in the wash now, but I got a Sir Laura. Both of those shirts are from Larian Studios. Sir Laura from Divinity 2, and the badger is the druid class from Divinity original. Not Divinity, from Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, I got some merch and some other t-shirts for EGX. And yeah, and then I went around, took some pictures, sent them to Panda. There was a picture of a dinosaur just running, a picture of that. Well, there was a picture because I took one, but someone had like dressed up as a full inflatable dinosaur suits and just running around the entire convention center like a lot. And I kept trying to take pictures, but it was so blurry because he was just running really quickly. It was like, Fucking hell. There was a bunch of cosplayers there, which was really nice as well. So when I got back, they had played Back 4 Blood. Apparently it was really, really good, although the audio was really messed up. They'd messed up the audio somewhere, so it was difficult for them to hear each other, because I think the microphones were picking up too much of the background sound, so you could hear everything going on. It was amplified, which obviously is not fun when you're in a kind of like team-based game. Later down the line, we also played the new Aliens Fire Team, I think, or Fire Strike, or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. But they all played that. They all really enjoyed it. It's once again, it's not really my kind of game, but I looked at it and I watched them play quite a bit. And it was really enjoyable to see. There was a lot of I mean, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's basically very similar to like an arena shooter where you shoot something in a box like room. You have to like defend the objective or like kill X amount of people, and then you move down a corridor to the next area where you've got a bunch of wave assault, and it's that kind of thing. And it looked really nice. The xenomorphs all have very different types. You've just got your basic normal bullet sponge ones, and then you've got like the really big xenomorph warriors, which are really deadly and everyone has to shoot at. And then you've got some like spitters, and then I'm assuming you've got lots of different other types, very similar to like another Left 4 Dead-ish third-person shooter version of that. But no, it was interesting to look at, and they looked like they had a lot of fun. It looks like there's different classes as well. So because I don't think they managed to switch up the classes. So we had like there was three screens next to each other. The one on the far right, which was Jack and Hula, I think, played on that one for a bit. That one, basically, the more hits you did on Xenomorph, the bigger your damage percentage would increase, which is a pretty cool like thing. And then if you took a hit, it kind of reduced, or if you didn't shoot something in quite a while, it would reduce over time. I think that's a really cool mechanic, to be fair, in that kind of game, because it sort of means, I always want to be shooting, I always want to be doing damage. And then on the other hand, the other one seemed to be more of a heavy class, which had access to some really powerful weapons. They had like an LMG that just you pointed it, but it's sort of what's the word? It's like locked on to enemies, like in a cone. So if there was like an enemy and an enemy there, it would like hit the one that's closer and then the one that's further away, even though you were aiming down the middle. So that was interesting. But yeah, it was good. It was really fun to watch. And then I know that Key and Cucumber played Biomutant afterwards and said that it was really fun. It looked interesting from when I looked at it, but I didn't really spend enough time to look at it to have any opinion, really. It looked very pretty. That was a lot of the games that we played. What else did we do? Oh, we had lunch. I had a really good lunch. And then we came back, and it was like, what do you want to do? Not really know. And there was, as with most gaming conventions, there's like an area that's dedicated to fighting games, and it was Street Fighter 5 and Tekken 7, and but they were like an intermission between what are they called? Between tournaments, and apparently Tekken 7 has a minigame which is just bowling. And so we went and sat down, because what they had done, it was showcasing that a little bit, but they had asked like kids, so like 12-year-olds and below, to like come up on the stage, do some bowling, and see what the highest score they could do was. And we were getting really into it. It was really fun to just see these kids just having a blast with the bowling, and we all got really into it. I don't know about the whole crowd. We were in our little section, and we assumed that the rest of them were following what we were doing, because we were quite loud. And then right at the end, this like guy, like 50 probably, just comes up, swaggers up. He's got like an accessory from one of the characters in Tekken, which he then picks as his character to do the bowling, and then just proceeds to do like 3 strikes in a row and just absolutely dominate. And it's like, yeah, I come here to just show all the kids who's the real boss. But it's like, you know, but it was really good fun. And I think it's quite telling for all of us, because after it, we were sort of sat down just relaxing before leaving, and we were like, what's your top 3 favourite things that you've seen at this EGX? And most of us had the bowling as being in our top 3. Just goes to show that it was kind of a like it was a pretty meh EGX in terms of actual content, but there was a lot of we had fun, and that was important. I mean, the fact that we were all there together, and I think that elevated the enjoyment of it, which is always nice. It was really, really nice to just hang out with them in the elements that all of us know each other from, which is gaming, which was really, really nice. There was also a large section where people were like, independent stores were selling things and stuff, and I saw some absolutely gorgeous D&D dice, but the D&D dice cost more than the 4 t-shirts that I bought. Actually, funny story, so the t-shirts from Larian cost £25 each, and I checked my account when I got home, because it's the kind of normal adult thing to do when you return from a trip, is you just check how much money have I spent, do I need to do some kind of budgeting for the rest of the month, blah de blah. Turns out Larian Studios, the woman who served me, may have fucked up and actually only charged me like 80p for the second t-shirt, because I only paid £25.80. Oops. Sorry Larian, I guess. Well, I mean, I've been playing your games for so long that I'm like a founder at this point. But yeah, so I technically spent less than I thought, but I also spent quite a lot. Yeah, that's what you do when you're having fun, I guess. Although I'm always mesmerised and just surprised by how cheap the tube is, and like the transport in London is just so good. Like, and this is the thing that really fucking bothers me so much about this fucking country when it comes to public transport, is that it is good in places, which means that they can do it. And you know why it's so good in London? It's because it's government owned. Anyway, let's not get through that. What else was there? So yeah, there was Artisanal. Saw some dice that were very expensive. I didn't get them because they were very expensive, and I was like, I can't. It would make me happy, but it wouldn't make sense. Like, I have enough dice as it is, and I'll get them some other day probably. There was also this really large section where they were celebrating old consoles. And when I say old consoles, it went from the PS3, which is obviously not old, but, 2006 I think it came out, like, pretty old. So the PS3, Xbox 360, all the way down to, like, the Commodore 64 and all those other things, or whatever it was called. Commodore 69? Nice. I don't know, I can't remember what it's called. It was probably the Commodore 64. It might have been called the Commodore 67, 66. Who knows? The Commodore, it's a gaming system, which no one knows about. You had to use tapes and put the tape in, and that was big, yeah. But they had all of that, and everything in between. You had NES, SNESes, you had Saturns, you had the GameCubes, you had everything. It was really cool, and then they had like this big game library, where basically you would just go up, pick a game that you want to play, put it into the console, and play it. I don't think any of us actually used it, but it was fun to go around and see and all that. And then the final thing that we did, the final thing that me, Jack, and Hula did, because Kia Cucumber heard the announcement saying, right, the normal thing is closing, if you want to stay for EGX After Dark, then go on this side, and they just left and ripped off their bandages, or ripped off their EGX. I've got it here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Oh, the EGX. Ooh. They ripped it off and then couldn't go back in, so I had to wait for us, because me, Jack, and Hula played some Age of Empires 2 because they had that available. It was really funny. They had this whole PC LAN section, and they had really recent games like Age of Empires 2 and Portal 2 and Counter-Strike and Team Fortress 2. And it was like, what are you doing? These aren't recent. They did have Valorant there as well, though, to be fair. But yeah, it was good. And then afterwards we went for a Thai, which when we eventually got to the Thai restaurant, and Hula was like, yes, I booked a table for 6, and they were like, what? Look, I can't see you on here. I can see that you've booked for tomorrow though. It's like, oh my god, you absolute plonker. So we didn't go to a Thai in the end. Instead we went to a boat and had pizza on a boat, or in a boat, because we were technically below deck. Which was a lot of fun. The music was quite loud, but it was a lot of fun. And the pizzas were really good, actually. Really, really good. And we had a lot of fun. And that's the main thing, really. We enjoyed our time there. It was good. And then on the following day, I had a very slow morning because I need to recover. But then I went to the Tower of London to meet up with Key and Cucumber, where we then had lunch together and then had a little wander about London before I headed home. But I had a long conversation with the Draganda to tell them all about it, and then Cucumber and Key were just in Starbucks waiting for me, and I just sort of came up behind them and then just put my phone, which obviously just had Panda just on the phone, just like, because it's video chat, just put it in front of their face. Apparently Cucumber was just like, I have no idea what's going on. Oh, it's Panda. It's like so dumb. But no, that was a lot of fun. I took them to their first Wagamamas, or Wagamamas as it's now called. Yeah, and they really enjoyed it. They were very reluctant at first, and then they saw the menu and they were even more reluctant, and then they got the food and they were like, this is actually really fucking good. Which is always the best thing to have. And apparently fucking Panda and Dragon haven't gone to Wagamamas either, so you guys need to go to Wagamamas. It's really good food. I wouldn't say it's as good. It's probably not as good as like a proper restaurant that focuses on like just Japanese or Chinese or Thai or Indian food, but it's a really, really good. I personally feel like they do a really good job of having a good selection and doing it really well, and it's always tasty. I've never had a bad Wagamamas, which more that I say it, the more it feels weird in my mouth. So there we go. Then I went home. I had to be picked up from Newport because the trains were not running from Cardiff to where I live. Love public transport in this country. Anyway, that was EGX. That was the entire undo. That's like over 20 minutes of what I did this weekend. This weekend is going to be also busy for me. I'm going to be going to Bristol for a birthday. And yeah, so basically all my weekend from going forward, if people even care about my streaming, it's probably not going to happen for a while, just because I'm very busy. I've got a lot of things coming up, and then with what's happened in the week leading up to the weekend, the decisions that I've made mean that I'm probably going to be even more busy, or less able to stream is what I tried to say. Even more busy because I've got life stuff to sort out properly, finally, at some point. Hopefully Monday, when we do update Monday, all this shit that you see behind me is going to be fucking cleaned and tidied up and removed, because it's just been there. Although like it may not look like it, but a lot of the stuff that you can see behind me actually holds quite important documentation, which I should probably put in other places, but I need to sort out my room. I really do. It's a mess, but there's not really a lot of other places I can put it, but we'll sort it out. Yeah, with that's everything. I hope that you guys have a good week. I'm looking forward to the streams that will be coming this week, although I hear that there's not going to be a lot of them. But here, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who reached out to me, especially well, I was really surprised but heart-warmed when I got a message from HS. It was like it appeared. I read it and I was like, oh dude, what a guy. Just making sure I was okay and stuff. And it's like it's a really great feeling when you've got friends that are several thousand miles away that take time out of their day just to be like send a message of support and stuff. And it's just like, I'm really, really grateful for you guys and all of you who came and sent me messages last week when I really needed them. And I'm also really grateful for my surrogate parents, who kind of helped me sort of stopped spiraling and just focused to get the grappling hook and pull myself out of the hole I was slowly sinking into. It's going to take a little while for me to climb out of it, but I'll get there. It's just a matter of time, really. I've got to sort out a lot of shit, but I should be able to, and hopefully this time next year I'll be feeling so much better about myself. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm sorry this was such a long one, but I hope that you guys enjoyed my recounting of EGX. I'd wholeheartedly say, if you're bummed that you missed it, it really wasn't worth it. Next year's probably going to be better. Although I think we're going to try and do Gamescom, and maybe apparently there's an EGX in March, so maybe that as well, who knows. But yeah, with that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.